Welcome to another episode of my live stream. It's called Islam for Dhimmis. And also today, I'm kind of responding to something that I put on, and I didn't really put it on to be controversial or anything. I mean, usually when I do stuff, it's controversial, but but not this. This wasn't controversial. It was just a very simple thing that I put on Facebook, but it's caused quite a stir and getting a lot of responses. Let me just put it up for you and show you what it says. And it's kind of funny because I'm getting some responses from some of my Jewish friends. I'm getting some responses from Christian friends, and of course, I'm getting responses from Sam and Nasser, of course. And somehow, it's kind of funny, but anyway, I just want to show you what it is that's getting all the reaction, and it's not a humongous reaction. I mean, for me, it's not like David Wood or Sam Shimon would get, but for me, it's big because I don't get that many reactions. But anyway, this is the post that I put up, and I just wanted to show it to you guys. And then I want to show you what one of the responses was, which was very interesting. And it's like, talk about glass houses. Okay, it's Moses turned water into blood. Jesus turned water into wine. Very simple thing. If you look at the plagues, if you look at the plagues that happened in Egypt, the first public miracle of Moses was, the first of the 10 plagues was that Moses turned water into blood. It was the first plague against the Egyptians so that they would release the Israelis to go to the promised land. But Jesus's first, so Moses' first miracle, the law, it's kind of like a symbol of the law. The law's first miracle is to make water undrinkable. It doesn't give life. And, the Bible says that the law brings death. It's the ministry of death. But Jesus's first miracle was, and John says this was his first miracle. He turned water into wine. And so water, he brings joy. He brings life. Hallelujah. Praise be to God. And so I just put that on. And so then I got this funny reaction from one of my cousins. I'm not sure he's a cousin, but he acts like one of my cousins. His name is Sam Suleiman. And Sam says, none of us were there to see it. We only learned in movies. And someone told us about it. How do you know they were saying the truth? Very good, man. That's a great question. It's a great question because you live in a glass house. The question is great because you live in a glass house. Because, the Bible is based on, the highest form of witness testimony is eyewitness testimony. Eyewitness, that means that somebody that saw. If you go to court, the highest one of the highest kind of testimony is somebody who saw what happened. Somebody who saw the crime and can tell you who did what. And like you watch Judge Judy. Judge Judy will always ask the person, did you see the crime? Did you see the person do the crime? If they say, no, I didn't see it, but I heard it, she says, sit down. I don't want to talk to you. She wants to talk to the eyewitness, somebody who saw it. And so the important thing is about being eyewitness and having seen it. And so that's a great question there, Sam. None of us were there to see it. But the problem, Sam, is that on your side, on about Muhammad and the eyewitnesses of Muhammad, that's the problem with all the miracles of Muhammad. But with Jesus, there were many, many eyewitnesses. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, is that there's so many eyewitnesses about Jesus Christ, about his existence, about who he was, about what he did. And this right here, I put this up here. It says Flavius Josephus. This is a very interesting. This is interesting because this guy was Jewish. This guy was not a Christian. He wasn't trying to promote Christianity. He was Jewish. and he was paid by the Romans, and he wrote a book. He was a historian, and he wrote a book. It's called The History of the Jews. He wrote a book called The History of the Jews. Now, this is Josephus, very famous Jewish historian, respected, highly respected Jewish historian. And this is what he said about Jesus. He said, about this time there lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man. Isn't that interesting? This is the Jewish man saying this. For he was one who performed surprising deeds and was a teacher of such people as accept the truth gladly. This is the Jewish guy saying this, you guys, who accept the truth gladly. He won over many Jews and many of the Greeks. He was the Messiah. This is Josephus, a Jewish guy, writing this. And when, upon the accusation of the principal men among us, Pilate had him condemned to the cross, those who had first come to love him did not cease. He appeared to them, spending a third day restored to life. For the prophets of God had foretold these things, and 1,000 other marvels about him. And the tribe of the Christians called after him has still to this day not disappeared. Wow. 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 This is a Jewish guy. This is such a respected Jewish historian. This is a respected Jewish historian named Josephus. Is this amazing? Is this amazing what he says? About this time, there lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man. For he was one who performed many surprising deeds and was a teacher of such people as accept the truth gladly. He won over many Jews and many of the Greeks. He was the Messiah. And when, upon the accusation of the principal men among us, Pilate had him condemned to the cross, those who had first come to love him did not cease. He appeared to them, spending a third day restored to life. For the prophets of God had foretold these things, and 1,000 other marvels about him. And the tribe of the Christians, so called after him, has still to this day not disappeared. So, my cousin Sam, he says, none of us were there to see it. Here's a Jewish man who doesn't believe in the gospel. A Jewish man who does not believe that Jesus is the Messiah. And yet look what he wrote about Jesus Christ. This is what you call external evidence. There's the evidence inside the Bible, Sam, eyewitness testimony, and then there's the evidence outside of the Bible. And when something is over 1,000 years old, usually they'll accept one piece of evidence as testimony of its veracity, that it's true. One piece of evidence that's true. With the Bible, we have at least 12 external testimonies of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that he died and wrote this outside of the Bible. Besides the Bible, 12 external testimonies that Jesus rose from dead. So when you say none of us were there to see it, but there is testimony of it. But the problem is that what you said, Sam, when you turn it on Islam and turn it on the quote unquote miracles of Muhammad and what happened with Muhammad, that's where you get into trouble. But let's look at some other stuff about the Bible, because this is amazing. This is amazing. Here is another. Let me hide this, and let me put on another testimony. Let me bring this up for you here. Every now and then, some of my cousins will come up with a really good subject, and so I want to respond to it. And this one is really interesting because he says there was no eyewitnesses. No eyewitnesses. And so let's look at some of the scriptures. Let's see what some of the scriptures. Okay, let's see what it says about specifically about this miracle. It says the miracle in Cana of turning the water into wine was witnessed by John and other eyewitnesses who wrote it in his account, and the existence of manuscripts dating back as early as 120 AD can now be considered testimonial, analytical, physical evidence. Sam, we have testimony within 120, this was like 60 years after Jesus. 120 AD, we have the physical analytical evidence. There's four kinds of evidence: testimonial, analytical, and physical. And we have the evidence. All of those three kinds of testimony exist about this miracle. So, Sam, you said none of us were there to see it. We only learned it from movies. Well, according to this, the miracle of Cana, turning the water into wine, was witnessed by John. John is the one who wrote it. And other eyewitnesses wrote it in his account. And the existence of manuscripts dating back as early as 120 AD can now be considered testimonial, analytical, and physical evidence. Those are the three kinds of testimony of evidence. Is testimonial, that means they tell you; analytical, they think about it; and physical evidence. And we have that with this story. So it wasn't done in some dark cave in Mecca. It was done in the daylight at the wedding. And in fact, if you even read what it says in the Gospel of John about this, it says that the disciples saw this, his first miracle, and they believed in him. They put their faith in him. And it was right there. They saw it and they believed in him. They believed that Jesus was the Messiah because he turned the water into wine. So Sam says, none of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies, and someone told us. How do you know that they were saying the truth? Listen, Sam, we have analytical, testimonial, and physical evidence of this miracle. We have analytical, physical, testimonial evidence, that this miracle happened. And not only that, I can go on and on talking about the evidence of Jesus Christ. Like I said, if something happened over 1,000 years ago, usually they'll accept one solid piece of evidence as proof that, yes, that thing did happen, that person did exist. If it's over 1,000 years, just one piece of evidence, they'll accept as testimony that, yes, this did happen. But with the Bible, there is so many testimonies. There's so many physical, analytical, testimonial evidence. Look, the miracle in Cana, turning water into wine, was witnessed by John, was witnessed by the author, John, the one who wrote it. He saw it. He was an eyewitness. And it says that he put his faith in Jesus as a result. And the disciples put their faith in Jesus as a result. This was a miracle that was done in the open. The miracle was done in the open. And it specifically says in the story that the ones who knew what happened were the disciples, because they put their faith in Jesus. They saw his glory. In fact, let me just read that to you because it's a very powerful scripture. It's a very powerful scripture. It's in John chapter 2. And, but you know what, Sam? We're going to use the same standard with Islam. The same standard that you're using with the Bible, which is great because the Bible can withstand this kind of criticism. The same testimony, same standard we're going to use with Islam and see if Islam passes the test. Okay, but let's see what it says. It says that, it says, the mother of Jesus came to Jesus because they were at a wedding and they had run out of wine. And let me read the story. On the third day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee, and Jesus's mother was there. And Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." "Woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied. "My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." They were filled to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw out some and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drew the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best until now." What Jesus did here in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So you see, the disciples believed in him as a result of Jesus doing this miracle. And it says here, the miracle of Cana, turning water into wine, was witnessed by John. Other eyewitnesses wrote it in his account, and the existence of the manuscripts dating back as early as 120 AD. This is like about 60, 70 years after Jesus. We have actual manuscript, physical evidence of this story, of the eyewitness account by John, and it provides testimonial, analytical, and physical evidence. There's 4 kinds of evidence. This provides 3 of the 4 kinds of evidence that this was a true story that really happened. And like I said, Sam said, none of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies, and some told us. How do you know that they are saying the truth? Okay, like I said, if something is over 1,000 years old, one piece of evidence they accept as, yeah, this did happen, for its veracity. We have so many evidence of this, of the gospel, of the existence of Jesus and the resurrection of Jesus. There's 12 sources outside of the Bible that Jesus existed. But the problem that you have, Sam, is that you live in a glass house. The reason you live in a glass house, you're throwing rocks out of a glass house, because was there any evidence? Did anybody ever see Jibreel except Muhammad? Did anybody see Jibreel except Muhammad? We have only the testimony of one man. You know what? Even when Muhammad came back from the cave the first time, and he went to Khadijah, and he said to Khadijah, cover me, because I'm afraid that I've been touched by Satan. When he said that to Khadijah, and Khadijah said, "Here, sit on my lap, honey. Then sit on this lap, honey. And then sit on this lap, honey." And then she took off her clothes and everything. Even then, when Muhammad was sitting on Khadijah's lap, Khadijah says, "Do you see your friend? You see it? Bishuf sahbak? Shaif sahbak?" Sahbak meaning the devil, Jibreel, who had come to Muhammad. So Khadijah could not see him. Khadijah could not see Jibreel. Even Khadijah, his wife, could not see him. But Muhammad could see him. Only Muhammad could see him. So the only witness we have that there was a Jibreel is one person. And what you just said here, none of us were there to see it. Even Khadijah couldn't see it. Not even Aisha could see it, because Muhammad did his little seizure on Aisha's floor one day, because Muhammad said that he gets his inspiration when he was wearing Aisha's clothes. Sorry, guys, that's in the hadith. None of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies, and some told us about it. How do you know they were telling the truth? We have testimony of this. We have analytical, testimonial evidence that this happened. But with Muhammad, it's one man's word. Even Khadijah didn't see Jibreel. Even Aisha didn't see Jibreel. And then we have the story about the donkey that flew. The donkey, al-Buraq, that flew from Mecca to Al-Aqsa. The donkey that flew from Mecca to Al-Aqsa. What's the proof? What's the eye? Did anybody see it? or Sam, none of, because let me tell you, Sam, about the Al-Buraq and Muhammad flying from Mecca to Al-Aqsa. None of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies and someone told it. How do we know that they were saying the truth? How do we know they were saying that there's only one? Who told us that Muhammad rode a donkey from Mecca to Al-Aqsa? Is that in the Quran? Does it say that in the Quran? If you read the ayah in the Quran, it doesn't really say that. It's not in the Quran. The Quran says, Subhanalladhi akhadh abdu min al-haram ila masjid al-Aqsa. That's all it says. It doesn't say that he flew on a donkey called al-Buraq and went all the way to Jerusalem. There's no, the only thing is, who was there to bear witness? None of us were there to see it. This is what Sam said about the miracle of the wine. None of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies, and someone told us about it. Here's what Adam says. And another main thing is that it shows Jesus has the power over time, because to make the wine, you need to wait for it to ferment. And it was made the best wine over, as per the people who drank. You know, it's an amazing miracle that Jesus did when he turned the water into the wine. It goes, of course, he's God. He can do anything, but it's an amazing miracle. And we have testimony of it within a few years of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And Sam, we do not have any eyewitness testimony of Jibreel. Nobody saw Jibreel, and nobody saw Muhammad on Buraq. And there's another thing nobody saw. Nobody saw when Muhammad split the moon. When Muhammad split the moon with his finger, you know, when Muhammad split the moon, he said that he looked up and he split the moon. We don't have any eyewitness testimony of anybody who saw Muhammad split the moon. It says because none of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies, and someone told us about it. How do we know that they're saying the truth? So what you're saying, Sam, I could say about Muhammad. I could say it about Muhammad. I could even say it about Muhammad himself. You know, none of us were to see him. We only learned about him in the movies, and someone told us about it. How do you know that he was telling the truth? So we don't even know about the existence of Muhammad, you know, to be honest, but let's not go there. But how do you know Muhammad split the moon? Hi, Nasser. You know, I'm responding to, and in the Quran, Muhammad didn't even, I know, and in the Quran, Muhammad didn't even split the moon. It says the moon is split. Yeah. So, you know, when you say that Muhammad split the moon, you know, where's the eyewitness testimony? Jesus did his miracles in front of people. Jesus did his miracles in front of people. The turning of the water into wine, he did it in front of people. Jesus raised the dead. He raised Lazarus. It says all the Jews were standing there. You know, let me read this to you, because I want you to see Jesus did not do some miracles Jesus did in private. There were a few miracles that Jesus did in private. But most of the miracles Jesus did, he did it in the open where people could see it. But let me read to you about the miracle of the raising of Lazarus. Okay. Okay, sorry. I can't. Okay. It says, Jesus, once more deeply moved, went to the tomb. And this is where his friend Lazarus was, who had died. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. Take away the stone, he said. But Lord, said Martha, the sister of the dead man, by this time there's a bad odor, for he has been there 4 days. Jesus said, did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. Jesus looked up and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe you have sent me. So there were people standing there who saw what Jesus did. It wasn't some secret thing. And then Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and cloth around his face. Jesus said to them, take the grave clothes off of him and let him go. Therefore, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary had seen eyewitness testimony, had seen what Jesus did and believed in him. See, it wasn't like Muhammad's miracle, he split the moon with his finger. Nobody saw it. That was just Muhammad who claims, or some hadith that says it, but nobody saw that miracle. But Jesus, his miracles were there for everybody to see. He did it because he wanted to glorify God, so people would believe that God sent him. See, and that's the difference. So Sam said, us were there to see it, but we only learned from movies, and someone told us about it. How do you know they were saying the truth? You know what? Yeah, I do. I know you believe that, but you know what, Nasser? Sam is the one who said this. I know you believe because these miracles are written in the Quran. You have to believe it. It's in chapter 3, verse 49, Surah Ali Imran, verse 49, that says these miracles. But this is what Sam said, Nasser. He said, none of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies. Someone told us about it. How do you know that they were saying the truth? And Muhammad said that he never did any miracles. Muhammad said he never did any miracles. But the hadith later on, because they want to make him look like Jesus, they wanted to say, oh, he did miracles. And one of the miracles they said is that he split the moon with his finger. He looked at the moon and split it in half, And now they say that NASA goes up there. They say NASA goes up there and they see that the moon has been split and all, but there's no witnesses. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy that Sam is saying this. I'm really happy that you're saying this, Sam, because you're giving value. You're giving value to something very important, and that's something that the Bible considers very important, and that is eyewitness testimony. Eyewitness testimony. I'm very happy that you are saying this because it's very important to believe in eyewitness testimony. And let me just show, I just want to show you something. And let me just show you something about eyewitness testimony when it comes to the gospel. This is what Paul said. He says, this is in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Paul said, for what I received, I passed on to you as of first importance, that Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures, that he was buried and that he was raised on the third day according to the scriptures, and that he appeared to Peter, Cephas, and then to the 12 disciples. After that, he appeared to more than 500 of the brothers. There was 500 eyewitnesses of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. 200 of the brothers and sisters at the same time, most of whom are still living, though some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James, that's his brother, then all of the apostles, and at last appeared to me as one abnormally born. And so here we have eyewitness testimony. And eyewitness testimony, and this is such an important subject, Sam, because eyewitness testimony is one of the highest forms of testimony that you can use in court is eyewitness testimony. So let me show you something else. This is very important because we're talking about eyewitness testimony, and you're saying that nobody saw it. I want to show you people saw it. Let me just show you what it says here. This is about after they crucified Jesus. They crucified Jesus and they drove a spear in his side and blood and water came out. Okay, this is John speaking. Now this is an eyewitness, somebody who's actually watching what's happening. He's not telling you something he heard. He was seeing it. He says, but then when they came to Jesus on the cross and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs, but one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and at once there came out blood and water. Blood and water means that he died. Blood and water means that he died because his heart was pierced. Now listen to this. This is very important, Sam and Nasser. He who saw it has borne witness. He who saw it, and his testimony is true. And he knows that he is telling the truth, that you may believe. Sam, where'd you go? I don't see you here, Sam. This is for you. You're the one who said none of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies and someone told us about it. How do we know that they were saying the truth? Good question. Look what John says. He who saw it, speaking about himself, has borne witness. His testimony is true, and he knows that he is telling the truth. The one who actually saw Jesus crucified and the spear thrust into his side is telling you that he's an eyewitness. He saw it. But with Muhammad, you don't know. No one saw his miracles. No one saw him split the moon. No one saw him ride the Buraq. No one saw Muhammad ride the Buraq to Al-Aqsa. All we have is, like Sam Solomon said, none of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies, and someone told us about it. How do we know they were saying the truth? How do we know Muhammad was telling the truth? That he saw Jibreel. You know, even Khadija didn't see Jibreel. Even Khadija didn't see Jibreel. When Muhammad was sitting on her lap, and she says, "Anta shaif sahbak? Do you see your friend?" He says, "Yeah, I see him." But Khadija didn't see him. The only one who saw Jibreel was Muhammad. So how do we know he was telling the truth? None of us were there to see it. Even Khadija didn't see. Even Aisha didn't see when Jibreel came to Muhammad when he wanted to marry his daughter-in-law, and Jibreel came and told them, "We have married her, zawajnakaha. We married her to you." Aisha didn't see him, but she noticed Muhammad was smiling, and he said, "Oh, Allah married her to me." You know, so everything we know about Muhammad is just based on all the quote-unquote miracles or anything Muhammad did. You know, a supernatural encounter was just based on his words. There's nothing else. Sah Khadija tara Jibreel, lam tara Jibreel. Mahada Nasir, nobody saw Jibreel. Nobody saw Jibreel except for Muhammad. How do we know he's telling the truth? How do we know Muhammad's telling the truth? Sah Khadija lam tara Jibreel. She didn't see him. Nobody saw him. You see, but Jesus' miracles were done so people could see and give glory to God. They saw, and it says that many of them believed in him. They believed in him because they saw the miracles. But with Muhammad, nobody saw his miracles. He split the moon. Nobody saw it. He did it by himself at night, you know, supposedly, you know, and there was no witnesses who could put their faith in him. But with Jesus, they could. Let's see what, لكن قريش تعرف بأنه الصادق الأمين. قريش, how come إذا هو الصادق والأمين ليش عمه ما آمنش بيه؟ ليش عمه ما آمنش بيه? Why didn't his uncle believe in him if he's the صادق and Amin? You know, you can call people whatever you want. أهل القريش تعلم بأنه يكذب وهو عندهم صادق. Well, then why do you open a bunch of doors? Let's have, maybe Adam would like to come on. You know, he's saying that in Quraysh they used to call him the honest and true one. You know, they used to call Muhammad the honest and the true one, and so that based on that you can place your trust in him because he said so. But I'm showing you actual miracle, actual testimony of Jesus Christ, and but with Muhammad you don't have that. With Muhammad you don't have that. You don't have the actual testimony. You don't have any proof. You don't have eyewitnesses. Nobody saw any miracles. Nobody saw Jibreel. There's only Muhammad. Everything we know about Muhammad supernaturally is based on his words. He said so. That's it. And so we just have to take his word for it. And because the Qurayshis called him Sadiq wa Amin, you know, well, you know, they didn't believe in him though. A lot of them didn't believe in him, you know. And there's a funny story. I don't know if you want to go there, but there's a funny story, and it was a time where, you know, Muhammad loved the people of Quraysh so much, and he wanted them to become Muslims, but they weren't listening to him. You know, they call him Sadiq wa Amin, but they didn't believe in him. They didn't believe his words. And so he said to Allah, he said, Allah, is there anything you can do so that my people will believe in me? And then, and this is, they were sitting in the temple. They were sitting in the ma'bad of of Alat, Al-Uzza, Al-Manat, the three daughters of Allah in pagan, in the Qurayshi mythology. And so what happened is Satan came. Satan came and told him a verse for the Quran. Satan came and gave Muhammad the verse. And the verse in English says, do you see the exalted cranes, Alat, Al-Uzza, Al-Manat? They're Al-Gharanik. Al-Gharanik. In Arabic, it's called Al-Gharanik. Do you see the exalted cranes? Their intercession is to be desired. Shifa'ithum turghab. And then Muhammad said that to the Qurayshis. And the Qurayshis were so happy. And then you know what Muhammad did? He bowed down to Alat, Al-Uzza, Al-Manat. Muhammad bowed down to Alat, Al-Uzza, Al-Manat. The three exalted Gharanik, the three cranes. He bowed to worship them. And the Qurayshis were so happy. He says, Muhammad's worshiping our gods. And they bowed down. And even the Muslims, the hadith says, this is Ibn Ishaq. Ibn Ishaq says this. Even the Muslims bowed down. And then, as Muhammad's walking home all happy because all his Qurayshis liked him now, Sadiq al-Amin, who bowed down and worshipped Al-Uzza, Al-Manat, the three Al-Gharanik. After they were so happy, he was so happy because the Qurayshis believed in him. And so he was on his way home, and then Jibreel comes. Jibreel comes and says, what you have done, you spoken words that Allah didn't tell you. You spoke words. And then there is a verse in the Quran came to delete, to abrogate, yunsakh. And this verse says that there is no prophet but that Satan puts words in his mouth when he desired his people to be saved. That's what it says in the Quran. Because Muhammad worshipped the three idols, Alat, Al-Uzza, Al-Manat, the Al-Gharanik, Al-Uliya, whatever they called them. Hey, we got Adam coming on. So, you call him a Sadiq al-Amin. He spoke the words of Satan. He spoke the words of Satan. But then Allah came and he... Oh, I'm breaking up?
Hello?
Hello?
You're good now. Yes, you're good now.
Oh, I'm good now? Okay. Nasser's
How
coming.
are you? Yeah, Nasir, you'll be breaking up anyways now because I'm here. Praise Lord! Yeshua Akbarul Azim!
He sent me a message about you yesterday.
That's good. I love those messages.
I'll put it in your file.
Perfect. Yeah, tell him to come live with me and I will show him his true prophet in true sense. And then he will run away from his own prophet.
At least Nasser comes on and writes messages. He won't come on live with me, but he does write messages. Sam, he's the one who sent this message today. Sam is the one who sent. Sam is the one who sent the message, but he won't come on. And this is.
Sam is a sissy. He's a coward. He will just type things behind the back, and he will not come and face it. He's a coward. He needs to grow some footballs, which he doesn't have. So anyhow, Quran chapter number 22, verse number 52. I need to state some things over here because I go by the tafsirs and asbabul nazul and all these things. So because Muslims can raise point fingers at you when you are saying something even though that you are saying it through the reference, but when you actually read the reference clearly, then they cannot. So let me read the reference. This is asbabul nazul of Quran chapter number 22, verse number 52. Imagine what happened. The messenger of Allah, Allah bless him and give him peace, if Allah is Allah, but we know who Allah is, recited, that's my word, recited it, but when he reached, have you thought upon Allat, Al-Uzza and Al-Manat, the third, the other? Quran chapter number 53, verse number 19 to 20. He is giving the reference of that chapter verse. The devil put on his tongue what he had secretly wished and hoped for, and said, "These are the mighty cranes, and their intercession is hoped for." That's what's written in Asbabul Nazul. And then he carry on and saying, when the Qurayshi heard this, they were very pleased. The messenger of Allah, Allah bless him, give him peace, carried on reciting until the end of the surah, and then they prostrate. Prostrate to who? Allah, Al Uzza, and Al Manat, and Allah as well. So basically, all four of them. All Muslims followed suit and prostrated, and all the idolaters who were present prostrated too. So all the idolaters and all the Muslimin, except for two people, who all those who were present, whether Muslim or disbeliever, prostrated except for Al-Walid ibn Mughariya. I don't know, it's in English. It is written in English, so I can't even pronounce it right unless it's written in Arabic scripture. And Abu Ulayya Saad bin somebody, who were too advanced in the age and could not prostrate, but they both grabbed a handful of dust and put that on their forehead. The Qurayshis then dispersed happily with what they have heard, and they said, Muhammad has mentioned our idols with complimentary terms. We know that Allah is now life and take it away. He creates, provides stars, because of these idols will intercede for us with him. Am I
So
clear
here,
on this subject?
Muhammad bowed down to these idols. He bowed down to Alat, Al-Uzza, Al-Manat, the three exalted cranes, these goddesses who carry prayers to Allah. And Muhammad bowed down to them. And the Qurayshis were so happy. You know, and the reason I brought this up is because I'm telling Nasib, we have no proof, because we have no proof of the things Muhammad said except for his word. All we have to prove to us Muhammad's words is his word. There was no testimony. There's no eyewitnesses. It was just his word. And then Nasir said, well, Muhammad was called as Sadiq wal Amin by the Qurayshis.
Oh, I can destroy Sadiq and Amin as well, but like put his last comment up on the screen.
The very last one?
Yes.
In Arabic?
Yes. Now read it and translate it.
إذا حضرت الشياطين خرجت الملائكة. If the devils come, the angels leave.
And that's what happened with Muhammad. I intentionally put this up there. That's what happened with Muhammad, because he was getting it from the devil. How can an angel come close to Muhammad? Thank you, Nasser, for acknowledging whatever we are saying. Your messages are exactly right on spot. And then you actually claimed that Muhammad is Sadiqul Amin. And Qurayshis used to say that Muhammad is Sadiqul Amin, correct?
Yes.
And we are actually talking about the Qurayshi Kafirun, not the Qurayshi Muslims, correct?
Right.
What if I prove you that Muslims thinks that Muhammad is not Sadiqul Amin?
Okay.
Open Quran chapter number 3, verse number 161.
Quran 3, 161.
161.
Okay, I gotta go down here a second.
No worries.
Okay, let me read it. It is not attributable to any prophet that he would act unfaithfully in regard to our war booty, and whoever betrays will come with what he took on day of resurrection. Then will every soul be fully compensated for what he earned, and they will not be wronged.
Awesome. Let me read the tafsir. This is in Tafsirul Jalalain, and this is also in Tafsirul Ibn Kathir. I'm reading it. When some red velvet cloth went missing on the day of Badr, some people, so this is after you have won the Badr battle, and now you have the capture of war, those things, the clothes and the swords and all these things. So right now, who are among Muhammad? Are they Qurayshis or are they Muslim in SARS and Qurayshi and everyone? So first you need to tell me that. Are they Muslims who wants the piece of war booty, or are they the ones who are attacking Muhammad who wants the war booty? Let's fix that first.
It was the Muslims.
Okay, awesome. So when some red velvet cloth went missing on the day of Badr, and some people began to say, perhaps the Prophet took it. It's said in a very nicely manner, but they actually accused Muhammad that Muhammad took it. And then this following verse was revealed. So
Wow.
you are telling me that Muhammad is Sadiqul Amin, yet his own followers, and this is also in Ibn Kathir, this is in Jalalain, this is in Ibn Kathir, this is in Tafsirul As-Suiti, I think as well. So his own follower Muslimin who went and migrated to Medina, who had nothing, they on after the day of Badr, when the war booty is being distributed, they are claiming that Muhammad took that piece of velvet cloth, because velvet is very unique back in those days. And they said, Muhammad took it. Why not somebody else took it? Like imagine, like, Steve, if there are 10 people near you, and somebody, and when people will accuse, who will they accuse? The person who is the
No,
lowest of the trustworthy, right?
the most trust, the one who has a reputation for doing things like that.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. I hope there was some Muslim who would answer this question to me. But unfortunately, you have to do that because none of these Muslims has any uh, guts to come up and speak. So these Muslims were saying, perhaps Muhammad took it. And what did Allah do? He revealed this verse. And he reveals this verse and he said, oh, don't call your prophet that he did anything unfaithful. Okay, now, when Jesus was there with his people, he's God. He tells you that what is hidden in your homes. Steve, do you know that?
Yes,
He told
yes.
us what is written in your what is hidden in your homes. He told
Right.
the people what they are thinking. He told them, right? But when Muhammad was accused, did Allah say, go to X guy, go to Abu Bakr, or go to Uthman, or go to maybe Abu Hamza, or go to Nasser, or go to XYZ, and you will find the piece of cloth? No, because Allah don't know jack. He said, don't accuse Muhammad. So imagine you are standing in the court of law and you are saying this guy did not steal anything. And the judge will say, okay, how do I prove that? And you say, Jibrail just came to me and he told me that Allah said that Muhammad took it. And then you will say, okay, how do I prove that?
Hello, Adam. Hey, Adam.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut off there.
I don't know where I did cut off, but yeah, if you are in the court of law and you have been accused, how will you, and you are telling the judge that I didn't steal, will you say, Jibrail just came to me and he brought me the verse and he told me, you judge and all your jury, you are wrong, never accuse me because I'm a prophet of God? Is that the verdict that you're going to accept?
It makes me think of when Jesus said, he says, which one of you accuses me of sin? I mean, he asked the people, if you have an accusation, bring your accusation against me. You know, he was willing because he was pure, he was innocent. But with Muhammad, he's got to do all of these games and lefu dowaran. And this reminds me. This reminds me of when one time somebody came to Muhammad in his house, and Muhammad was rude to him and cussed at him and sent him away. And then Aisha says, why did you cuss at the guy like that? Why did you treat him like that? And then Muhammad said, when I cuss at them on Judgment Day, that's going to be considered a good work for him to endure being cussed at by me. Do you remember that story? Oh, well, no, it looks like we're losing Adam. I don't know. I think it's your internet, Adam. Hello, Adam? Uh-oh. I think I'm breaking up here. Let me go sit in another place here. I don't know if it's me, because it seems like the internet is working okay. I think Adam's internet isn't working. Let me go sit someplace else where I might be a little bit better. Oh, I'm too old for this, you guys. Hey, Adam. It's not me. Okay, maybe Adam will try to come back. I'm going to go ahead and put you off here, Adam, so you can just come in again. Go ahead and come again, Adam. Yeah, but what I'm saying today is that, my cousin Sam said about the miracle of the wine, turning the water into wine. He says, none of us were there to see it. We only learned it. We only learned it from movies, and people told us about it. And what I'm saying is, first of all, that we do have testimony. We do have evidence of it, analytical, testimonial, and I can't remember the other one, evidence of this specific miracle. Because we have testimony, we have written testimony of this miracle from an eyewitness, written 120 years, 120 AD, about 120 AD is probably about 60 years after it happened, when we have testimony that far back. And so anyway, and then I told my cousin, I said, well, what about in Islam? There's no testimony of Muhammad's miracles, when he split the moon, when the tree smiled at him, when he flew on a magic donkey from Mecca to Al-Aqsa. And we don't have any testimony. We only have Muhammad's words. And so my cousin says, well, Muhammad was called the Sadiq wa Amin, which means the faithful and true, by the people of Quraysh who knew him. And then Adam came on and showed us that even in the Quran, it's clear that the people of Quraysh did not consider Muhammad as Sadiq wa Amin. They considered him one of the most likely, from chapter 3, verse 161, the most likely to have stolen from the war booty. And so if they doubted him to that degree, how could they have considered him as Sadiq wa Amin? Who came up with that? Anyway, I was just explaining that to them, Adam.
Yes, I heard that. I'm sorry, the internet is bad on my side because we have a blackout.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, we have a blackout and I'm using my phone, so the blackout is causing this issue.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries at all. So at the same time, show me from Quran a single miracle of Muhammad. Rather, multiple times when Jews were saying to Muhammad, hey Muhammad, show us your miracle. All the previous prophet had miracles. And Muhammad replied that Allah said, we have given you no miracle. You are just a warner.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a single miracle from Quran. You will find none. Because if at that particular time when Jews are asking question, right, at that particular time, what should Muhammad say? He should say, there you go. Let me do this miracle. Taram, and the miracle is there. Duz, the moon is split. Duz, the trees are brought down. Duz.
I want to read that verse. They say, why hath not a sign been sent down unto him from his Lord? Say, verily God is able to send down a sign, but the greater part of them do not understand. Okay, this is in Quran, Surah Al-An'am, verse 37, 637. Then There's another verse, Surah Al-A'raf. And when thou dost not show unto them a sign, they say, why hast thou avoided to bring it? Say, this is Allah telling Muhammad, say, verily I follow that only wherewith the Lord hath inspired me. This revelation is a witness from your Lord, a guide and a mercy to the people that believe. Okay. Then from Surah Al-Ra'd, chapter 13, verse 5, the unbelievers say, why hath not a sign been given from his Lord? Nay, but thou art only a warner, and unto every people there hath been given a guide. And then also in Surah Bani Israel, 1758, and nothing hindered us from sending thee with miracles, but those old time gave them the lie. I guess they're saying that in the past people didn't believe them, so we're not going to give you any. And this is Surah Al-Ankabut, 29, verse 48. They say, why hath not a sign been sent down unto him from his Lord? Say, signs belong to the Lord, and as for me, I am but a preacher. So, and let me just say one more. This is Surah Al-Ankabut, verse 49. What? Doth it not suffice them that I have sent down unto thee the book which is recited unto them? Anyway, so there were no signs. But Jesus was very clear, you guys. Jesus was very clear. He said, my signs, the works I do, bear witness that God has sent me. Jesus said, these miracles are proof that I am the Messiah. They are proof that God sent me. Muhammad kept making excuses. Oh, you got the book, you got something, but he didn't do no miracles. So anyway, so I just wanted to quote those scriptures. Hey,
Thank you. Yeah, I heard them. So yeah, so bring me anything else, buddy. Nasser, bring me something else. Like everything that you said is actually going against Quran. Your own book, accept it. Don't lie. Accept it.
Yeah. And it just, I was also going to show, one thing I wanted to show today, and I started showing it, but I kind of got sidetracked a little bit, but I really wanted to show some of this. I'm really happy. I'm really happy. And I'm really happy that Sam brought up the subject of witnesses. I'm really happy that he brought that up because, usually with Muslims, they say, no, this is from Allah and that's enough. And we don't need witnesses or nothing. This is from Allah and everything. But I'm glad they're talking about eyewitnesses because the Bible is based on eyewitness testimony. It has so much about eyewitness testimony. And, I just would like to read, from the, I would like to read what the very beginning of Luke says. It says, this is the Gospel of Luke, for as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they were delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seemed good to me also, having the perfect understanding of all things, from the very first to write unto thee in order, most excellent Theophilus. So here again, you see the eyewitness. The Bible is, the gospel is full of eyewitness testimony. This is so powerful. First John starts out, that which we have seen, that which we have heard, that which we have touched with our hands of the word of life. I mean, this is eyewitness, ear witness, physical touch witness, and so the gospel is based on eyewitness testimony. And, which with Muhammad, everything he said was just his word. You got to accept it, so.
And yes, can you please put the Frank's last comment up on the screen as well?
Frank's last comment?
Yes, I need to answer that. Okay, Frank, the splitting of the moon in Quran has nothing to do with Muhammad. The Quran verse simply says, and the moon is split and
Hmm.
the day of resurrection is near. So it has nothing to do with the miracle of Muhammad. So Quran is simply saying moon is split. It is later invention in the ahadith that Muhammad split the moon. That is a later invention. As Steve already recited maybe 10 verses already where Quran is denying any miracle given to Muhammad. So moon is split, the day of judgment is near. Right now it's almost 1500 years and the day of judgment is still not happened. So this is the most stupidity fake news newspaper ever. You guys call CNN fake news? This is the biggest fake news newspaper ever.
Yeah, and you know the just that you know there's a cognitive dissonance. There's a cognitive dissonance sometimes with Muslims, and this is where you believe two opposing things at the same time because you have to, because that's what Islam teaches. You
Hey
know,
Steve, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to disagree with you. Usually, like not usually, I'm always in agreement with you, but today I'm gonna disagree with you.
no, you're not, but it's okay. I don't mind, but you're not.
I'm sorry.
It's like Donald Trump said, when he says that. Wait a minute, your advisors disagree with you. He says, well, we want different opinions. We none of us is perfect, so we can use and just come on when Ray Register comes on if you want. He
Yes,
really
I
gives
will.
opinions.
So the thing is, whenever I will show them a hadith which goes even slightly for a single penny against Quran, or let alone you don't have any proper reference in Quran, they will start shouting, we are not going to accept this hadith. Dude, it is Sahih. Dude, it has 20 narrations. Dude, it has 50 narrations. No, it goes against Quran. They will not accept it. But as soon as you find the most tiniest speck of hadith showing the miracle of Muhammad, even though there are 15 verses in Quran or 10 verses in Quran which says Muhammad had no miracle, they are going to accept that 100% and they are going to protest to defend it 100%. You tell me the answer for this.
Hmm.
Do you have the answer for this? Does any of your cousins have the answer for this? I'm waiting for the answer for this because
Well,
uh,
you know what I see. What I see is it depends what they need at the particular time. If they are trying to prove a point and the hadith agrees with them, they'll go with that. If they're saying the Quran says one thing and the hadith says another, they'll go with that. So it just depends what point they're trying to make at that time. Because sometimes they'll go hadith, 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 hadith. For instance, the hadith about the donkey, not the donkey, the it's about the crap, the garbage in front of Muhammad's door. The Jew with the garbage in front of Muhammad's door. Uh,
mhm,
when they want to tell that story, I mean, that is like I hear it so many times. Is that in the Quran?
no.
No, but look who's explaining you, Steve, and Farid, come
Oh,
on,
Farid is here. Come on up, buddy. Let's
Farid,
see.
come be with us, man. Come, we need somebody to come. We know all your cousins are afraid to come on, man. Come join us,
They're
Farid.
cowards, cowards, cowards.
I'm going to send you an invitation, Farid. I want you to come on with us so we can
And
talk.
last time you talked about what? What did he talk about last time? Oh, pizza, pizza. He loves Pizza Hut, I think. Yeah, he
No, no,
loves
no.
Pizza Hut.
He's not the pizza person. That's Joseph.
Oh, that's
So
Joseph. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Farid. Didn't know that. My bad. Appreciate it.
now Farid is my real cousin. I really love Farid. I love him. I love his father. He's a good guy, and he says he doesn't want to come on because he doesn't want to argue with somebody that he loves. And I said, hey, we really need to talk about this, and I do love you. That's why I want to talk to you about this. And so, but the for it just depends what their point they're trying to make. but the cognitive dissonance that I was talking about,
Why did Muhammad? Sorry, before you go there, sorry. Did Muhammad ever says be racist?
Yeah, the Quran
No,
says it.
Quran says it. Yeah, but
Yeah,
like that is why Farid is being very racist
yeah, Farid.
against Indians. I'm not Indian for sure, but I don't have any issue. You can call whatever to Indians. I have no issue about that. But once again, why is he being so racist? I have no idea. Bring up this comment of his.
No, I don't. Yeah,
It,
I
it
always,
it shows the morality of Muhammad exposed through the followers of Muhammad. So that's what it is.
you know,
And
but you know what? You know what? One thing I've seen, like, they'll always, I love you too, Farid. I love you, Farid, but I want you to come on with us and talk to us. And I want you to stop talking like this about, saying about Indians and stuff,
yeah, Muhammad was very racist against
because
blacks for sure. He
we're
called them
very,
raisin heads.
anyway, but, it's like, like this, like, for instance, the Sunnis say that the Shiites are kafirs, because they're Shiite, and the situation between the Shiites and the Sunnis, but they love Hassan Nasrallah, and so and
Imam Hassan.
and because he's always defending the Palestinian cause, and then there's also the issue of when they want to say that there's 2 billion, well, there's like 300 million Shiites, and so in order to reach 2 billion, you need the Shiites, and so we're all Muslims when you're doing population counting. So, but tell him to keep prophets of his mouth, and I'll stop.
Prophets of Islam. What does that mean, by the way?
I think he's telling you not to talk about the prophet, but the thing is, Fadi, he's reading to you what the Quran says. He's reading to you what the Quran says. He's reading to you what the Hadith says. Farid, if you have a problem with what's being said, your problem isn't with him, it's with what's in the Quran. It's what's in the Quran, that's the problem. And, that's what I'm trying to show you. So, anyway.
By the way, Steve, you should actually start asking them money for doing private consultation with Farid and all these people, because that's what Muhammad said. Quran chapter number 58, verse number 12. Let's read it. O you who have believed, when you wish to privately consult a messenger, present him for the consultation gift that is better for you and purer. But if you find no means, then indeed Allah is forgiven. What kind of a prophet he is, that the people who wants to talk to him and wants to get educated by him, he is asking them to give him gifts or money or whatever. Like that is a prophet you guys follow? Is that the prophet you guys follow? I don't know. That's in Quran, not even in Hadith.
Wow.
What do you say about this verse, Mr. Steve Hussein?
I need money, and
Yes. So for every private consultation with these guys, you should start getting money from them. If they do not have the mean, then fair enough. But I think your cousins are well off. They have enough money
my
to bring.
my village is very rich, so it's a very our village is called the Beverly Hills of the West Bank. If you look it up in the Los Angeles Times, there's a Los Angeles Times story about it called the Beverly Hills of the West Bank. Beautiful. We have castles and everything, and here I am delivering pizzas, and so that's why they were so shocked about me delivering pizzas, because I love you, Farid. Ya Rab, bless Farid. Ya Rab, let him know you, Father, in Jesus' name. So that's the hard thing, is that most of the people who respond on my page are my relatives, and I love them all. And of course, we love everybody too. I mean, we love everybody. We want everybody to know the truth. See, Farid says no shame in work. So I know, but if you go back and you look, I think it was Joseph.
Joseph, yeah.
He's the one who said that I shouldn't be delivering pizzas or something. You're right. There is no shame in work. And I do other things too, but the pizzas is the main. But it hasn't been really good lately, though. If it's pizza or garbage, man, no difference. A loyal job.
Oh, now he's fine. Wow, he was racist against Indians. Now he is fine with garbage job or pizza delivery. That's again like Muhammad, who forgets what he said previously and then he brings up something else. He's a true follower of Muhammad, man.
Well,
By the way, Fareed, which cocktail are you going to drink tonight? Muhammad gave a very good cocktail in Sunan Ibn Majah. It's a cocktail of
that's
camel urine and milk, or camel milk, basically, and also in Sahih al-Bukhari 5686. You know, you cannot drink alcoholic cocktails, so that's a very good cocktail for you to drink tonight. It will fix your stomach as well. Maybe it will fix your mind as well, and you can come in and have a nice discussion finally and talk about Muhammad, see who he is really. I'm the guy who talks about Muhammad. I expose Muhammad.
yeah.
Why do I expose Muhammad? Because he's the worst example for the mankind, and nobody should be like him.
And
Nobody should act like him. Nobody should follow him. Sorry, Steve, please.
that's okay. And Farid, that Muhammad said that people like me are supposed to be killed. He says, "Man baddal dino fa'uqtilu." That's a quote from Muhammad. "Man baddal dino fa'uqtilu." You know, and that's one. How can you follow a man who would say something like that? Only God can forgive you.
And yes, that is why Jesus said, "I forgive you."
God. Jesus said. I wanted to read something, because one thing that my friend Sam, I left Sam's quote up through the whole live stream today because this is why I did the live stream today. Sam said, none of us were there to see it when Jesus turned the water to wine. We only learned it in movies and someone told us about it. How do you know they were saying the truth? And what I said to Sam is, well, no one saw when Muhammad flew on the donkey from Mecca to Al-Aqsa. None of us were there to see it. We only learned it in the movies or someone told us about it. How do you know they were true? We didn't see when Muhammad split the moon. None of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies and someone told us about it. How do you know they were saying the truth? No one saw Jibreel come to Muhammad. None of us were there to see it. We only learned it in movies and someone told us about it. How do you know that it was true? I'm just saying that what Sam says, it's like what we say in America is you're living in a glass house. Because you throw rocks out of a glass house, you're going to have to break the glass on the way out because Muhammad is, there was no witnesses to Muhammad's miracles, alleged miracles, or, the supernatural things. But with Jesus, there was so many testimonies. And I want to read this one. This is a different one. This is a guy named Tacitus. I said that with Jesus, there's external evidence, things outside of the Bible talking about who Jesus was. And this is what Tacitus, this was another historian in the time of Jesus said. He said, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians, the populace. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius. And so here the historian is testifying to the existence of Christians, of course, but Christus, Jesus Christ. This is Christ. And so, this is showing you his evidence outside of the Bible, even though the evidence inside the Bible is phenomenal about Jesus Christ. But this is one of them. And then I showed you also Josephus, and so there's so many testimonies. And I'm so happy, Sam, that you're talking about eyewitnesses. I'm so happy because we have eyewitnesses. We have eyewitnesses about Jesus' death, about Jesus' resurrection. Even Bart Ehrman, that Muslims love to use because he's so anti-Christian and so many things he says. But when it comes to the resurrection, he says the disciples believed they saw Jesus risen from the dead. He admits that based on the evidence.
I have another question for you, buddy.
Okay.
When Quran actually said the first statement, forget Burak, because obviously there was no flying donkey in Quran. But anyhow, Allah took so-called prophet, there's no name Muhammad, from the nearest mosque to furthest mosque, Masjid al-Aqsa.
Yeah.
But Masjid al-Aqsa was created in 697 or 96, if I'm not mistaken. But Muhammad died in 632.
32. Yeah.
Which masjid did Muhammad visited at that particular time? That
I,
actually shows the corruption of Quran.
well, you know what? I'm going to do something about that because I have an Egyptian teacher of Sharia, an Egyptian from
Mhm.
Al Azhar University, who's going to answer that question. Al Aqsa is not in Jerusalem. It's in Saudi
Yes.
Arabia. They know where it was. And so but I want to get him to say it
Yeah.
because not me.
Yeah. Why did you actually give this reference as well? You shouldn't have done that. This
Yeah.
is, I know, but like the whole problem is they are following Masjid al-Aqsa to begin with. The first
Yes.
mosque is Masjid al-Aqsa, and that's why they say that they first used to bow down towards Masjid al-Aqsa. But that Masjid al-Aqsa, the Dome of the Rock, was not even created at that time. And if Farid can show me historically that mosque was present, I'll be delighted. If not, Quran is a piece of garbage. It is
Well,
wuzu.
you know what? Um, if you look at Ibn Taymiyyah,
Mhm.
Ibn, uh, all of them say there was no mosque there when Muhammad made this flight.
Exactly. And Farid said that Aqsa in Saudi Arabia, ha ha ha, behreen. That is awesome. Hallelujah for that.
Yeah.
Perfect. It was not. Now, tell me, when do you find the construction of Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem? In what? At least 70 years after the death of Muhammad. When Muhammad was rotting in grave, then it happened. Now, where is that mosque when Muhammad actually flew there? Where was that mosque when Muhammad flew there? It wasn't. It was not nothing. There was no mosque.
You
There
know
was no
what?
mosque.
I'm going to because I was on David Wood's program uh, one time and I spoke about this, and so I'm going to just put that in here. Uh, um, yeah, because whoever wants to, you could see because I talked about this specifically with David Wood, and in between the jokes, and I had some really good jokes that day. You can watch it if you'd like to. So, when your great grandma was still single. Okay, this is the. If you want to watch it, it's there. Uh, so, but you know what, Farid, are you sure, Farid, you don't want to come on? Because if you want to come on, you can come on, and you know I'll be nice to you because I love your family, I love your dad, and and of everybody who comes on, you have a warm spot in my heart. So if you want to come on, I'll let you. I'll be nice. But if you don't want to, I think we're going to have to call this and end this because some of us have to go deliver pizzas before we go to church tonight. So, but you're going to leave? Oh, okay. But let me just say one thing, Farid. You know, the reason I'm doing this, I'm not just doing this to be a pain. It's true, I am doing it to be a pain. I am a pain. But because I love you and because I don't want anybody to go to hell. And I know that every few weeks I hear somebody in Der de Buan dies. Every few months, somebody in Der de Buan dies.
Oh, he wants you to call him, so he's scared of me. He's scared of his so-called Indian. Scared, buddy? Howard? Come up live. Show it yourself. Show yourself. Come up live. What is Masjid al-Aqsa? You think you can beat Steve? You can't even beat him. He is much knowledgeable than me. But let's finish me first. Scared? Chicken yellow belly? Yeah, Yellow Belly is pretty good. I saw Back to the Future again, and I was like, oh, Yellow Belly, that's a good comment. That's what I'm gonna say. Everyone who will run away now, so they are all Yellow Bellies.
Oh, all right. Let me just say thank you so much, Adam, for coming on with me. You
Praise
know,
Lord. Thank you.
this subject is, yeah, I'm so happy. I'll be honest. I am so happy that Sam brought up the subject of eyewitness. He says no one saw it, because that opens a great door, because Muhammad had no eyewitnesses and we have tons of eyewitnesses. And so I'm
Hallelujah.
glad that he opened the subject. It's something that I love to talk about. Steve, we never talk religion on phone, so Indian is confused. حبيبي خليك منيح معاه واخوك اخوك في الانسانيه. He's your brother in humanity, son of Adam and Eve. So um, but the reason we're doing this, I don't want anybody to go to hell. We look at the coronavirus, we look at the situation in the world, the economic, we are coming to the end of the world. Jesus is coming back. I will work. I'm going to go right now. Jesus is coming back, and I want all of you guys to go to heaven. I don't want anybody to go to hell. I don't want nobody from Der Debuan to go to hell. No, he's not. He loves you, bro. All of us love you, bro. And so just come to Jesus. Say, Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. He loves you. He died for you. I love you. My love doesn't mean that much, but Jesus' love means everything. You need him. He loves you. We've been on for almost an hour and a half now. Thank you again, Adam, for coming on with me. Thank you, Frank, for your contributions. Thank you, Farid, for coming on, and Nasser, even though Nasser disappeared somewhere. And Sam, for your comment, because it opened the door for us to talk about it.